I want to ask you guys a question. Does anybody here have a dream, a vision, something you want to create, something you want to make, some difference you want to make in this world? If you do, please raise your hand. A very ambitious crowd. All of us who raised our hands are going to face challenges, hurdles, obstacles, things that are going to try to stop us from realizing, from reaching, and from materializing our goals. All of us. And all of us are going to fall into one of two categories. There'll be those of us who will overcome. We're going to overcome rejection, dejection, depression, frustration, whatever will happen, whatever punches life throws at us. We'll get back up. We'll keep running until we reach our goal, until we reach the end zone. That's group A. But then there are those of us who will be in group B. We'll fall prey. We'll let go. We'll give in. And we'll let our dreams and visions fade away into the abyss. And today I'd like to talk to you about how all of us can be in group A. And I believe that perhaps the secret ingredient, the way and the method in which we can be in group A, is by recognizing and unearthing the power, the purpose, and the potential of right now. Let me explain. There was an 18-month-old boy. His name was Percy Spencer. At 18 months old, his father tragically died. His mother, being unable to take care of him by herself, gave Percy to his uncle and aunt to raise him. At 7 years old, Percy's uncle died. At 12 years old, he dropped out of elementary school and was working from dawn till dusk at the mill. But Percy was motivated. He was driven. And in 1939, when World War II broke out, he landed himself a job at a radar and radiation lab building weapons for the Allied forces against the Nazis. And one day, one of his first days to work, he's wearing his nice best suit, and he had a chocolate bar in his pocket. He's standing at his desk, and all of a sudden he starts to feel this warm sensation in his pocket. And soon, moments later, a wet sensation in his pocket. And soon there is this substance oozing, a brown chocolatey substance oozing down his leg, forming a brown river on his beautiful new suit. Yes, the chocolate bar was melting. Now most of us would say, oh, why did I bring that chocolate bar? My best suit. I mean, I'm an orphan, my father died, my uncle died, and now a chocolate bar melts. What could be worse? But not Percy. He recognized it wasn't an accident. It wasn't by chance. There's got to be power and purpose here. And he thought about it. It's not even warm in the room. Well, 5 years later, Percy Spencer and his team got the patent and built the very first microwave. Yeah, it was the microwaves in the lab that had melted his chocolate bar. By the way, the first microwave was 6 feet tall and weighed 750 pounds. You see, we can embrace or we can reject. At every junction in life, when life throws us a curveball, when there's melted chocolate melts, life throws chocolate at us, it's wonderful. We embrace it. But sometimes that chocolate melts. And that's where we are called upon to find the purpose, the power, and the potential of what's going on right now. They tell this old story about a man. It's a fable. A man who had 2 pots. And every day he'd take the 2 pots, put them on a pole, go down to the stream, fill up the pots, bring them back home. It's before running water, before sinks, before he could have Uber or an app to go get it for him. And one pot was a whole pot. It was brought back a whole pot of water. The other one had cracks in it. And it only brought back half a pot of water. And this went on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And the full pot felt great about itself. She's bringing home a full pot, but this broken pot, she felt like a loser, dejected. Here I am, after 6 years, she opens her mouth and she talks to her master and she says, I'm a loser, I'm a nobody, I'm a broken pot. And her master says, tomorrow, when we come back from the stream, look outside yourself. Look down at the ground. And the next day, sure enough, on the way back from the stream, Mrs. Pot looks at the ground, and on her side of the path, along her side, were flowers. She said, what's this? She says, I knew you were broken. I knew exactly who you are. And that's why I planted flower seeds. For the last 6 years, your brokenness has adorned my house with the most beautiful flowers, fragrances, and petals. Yes, we have challenges. We have brokenness. We have holes. But it's our job to recognize that those holes can give birth to beautiful, beautiful flowers. There is a power, there is a purpose, there is a potential for right now. There's a reason I'm speaking to you. Maybe some of you are thinking as I'm speaking to you, when is this guy just going to be over and I can get to lunch? Maybe some of you are saying, this is the greatest speaker. I want him to go on for 2 hours. I don't know what you're thinking. But I believe that there's a purpose and there's a power and potential for me talking to you right now and for every single one of you in this room that's listening. What it is, I'm not sure. Where does that purpose come from? Maybe it's all an accident. Maybe it is random. I can't answer that question for you. But I can tell you what I believe. I'm Jewish, as you might have guessed. I'm a rabbi. I'm the only one who got the memo about the dress code here today. And I believe that God has woven within the fabric of our lives purpose, power, and potential. It's that allows me the other day when it was 106 degrees outside and my car broke down. That's the reason my wife and I moved from New York, to experience the beautiful California weather of 106 degrees. And my car broke down. I'm waiting for AAA for 45 minutes for me to experience that there was purpose and potential for me sweating in the smoldering heat. When my wife and I moved from New York, we didn't know a soul. We didn't have anybody here. We had no money. We had no jobs. But we were armed with a mission, with, as you said, you have dreams, with a vision. And in the ups and the downs, even in the downs, in the holes, in the melted chocolate, I was able to believe that God had imbued purpose, potential, and power. 5 years ago, there was a study in Rush University Medical Center in Chicago, Illinois. It was a paper that was published by Doctors Boyle, Butchman, Barnes, and Barnett. If your last name doesn't begin with B, they won't take you at Rush University Medical Center. And they did an amazing study. They took 900 seniors. And the first thing they did is they gave them a score for how much purpose they felt in their lives. And they gave them a card, and on that card it said different statements. I feel my life is filled with meaning and purpose. I used to set goals for myself, but now I feel that's a waste of time. Some people walk around this world aimlessly. I am not one of them. And they gave them these 10 cards, this card with a list of 10 things, and they asked them to rate from 1 to 5 if it's true or untrue. And based on that, they gave them a score of their feeling of purpose in life. They followed these 900 subjects for 7 years, and they found something incredible. The ones who scored on the top 10% of finding purpose and power and potential in life were 2.5 times more likely to not have Alzheimer's disease and mild cognitive impairment. More than the bottom 10%. That means that the top 10% who scored, this is at a time in life where people are feeling lonely, they might be living alone, they have no family, they might not be working, they don't feel fulfillment from their job, they might be in and out of hospitals, in and out of doctor visits. But their ability to unearth power and potential at that moment in their life not only allowed them to reach their visions, but it actually helped them with mental illness. So finding purpose, power, and potential in our lives is not merely there to be able to help us achieve our visions. It actually, the spiritual and mental state of mind, actually has a profound influence and an effect on our physical and medical well-being. But I think it's more than that. It actually is key to our survival. Viktor Frankl was one of the most famous psychoanalysts of the 20th century. In 1943, he was a Jewish neurologist and psychiatrist living in Vienna, Austria. The Nazis came in, rounded up his family, his wife and his parents. 3 years later, most of his family, including his pregnant wife, was murdered. But he, prisoner number 119104, he survived. After leaving the camp, he wrote a book about his experiences. It took him 9 days to write the book. It's a small book. It's since sold tens of millions of copies, and in 1991 it was named by the United States Library of Congress as one of the 10 most influential books in the United States of America. And in this book, it's titled Man's Search for Meaning. He had long believed that there's purpose in life. One of his science teachers in high school said that the sum total of life is nothing more than the process of combustion, than the oxidation process. And he sprung out of his seat and he says there's got to be purpose to life. Even in medical school, he was developing suicide prevention centers for teenagers. This is in the early 20th century. And in his book he says the following: the Nazis tried to strip us of our humanity. They tried to make our lives nothing more than animalistic existence and instinctive survival. And he said that in hell on earth, many people gave up, Group B. But there were a few people that held on, that recognized that on hell on earth, there was purpose, there was power, and there was potential. I'm here standing here before you today because I'm the great-grandchild of somebody who unearthed, found that potential, found that power. And that's why I'm alive today and talking to you. So I want to leave you with a final thought. I want each and every one of you, next time that life throws you a curveball, next time chocolate melts, next time you get harassed on Facebook, that's old news, sorry, Instagram, and now I hear there's something called Yik Yak, someone told me recently. Next time you don't make the team, next time you don't get where you want to go. Maybe you're feeling like it's hell on earth. Remember, those holes in your life, they have tremendous purpose. There's tremendous power. There's tremendous potential. You have to unearth and find that it's woven within the fabric of your life. And those holes will give birth to the most beautiful flowers in your life. And that's how you'll materialize your dreams and you'll go from Group B to Group A. Thank you very much.